Man, this thing rolls easy. Ah, golly, you guys are always sneaking up on me. I'm glad you're here though. Moving this 57 around. You gotta get this floor cleaned up, get it finished up, touched up, and get it back this way. All right, I'm tired of looking at its bottom side. Welcome back, Junk's Automotive. All right, so as you can see, it's looking a little patchy. Get it? Pat, okay. Anyhow, did the floors, complete trunk floor, well, pieces. I really wish if I hadn't started this project during the middle of COVID, I could have got a full floor pan, but I couldn't. I could have. I'd have paid a whole bunch of money for it and waited forever for it, but I was impatient. Same with the trunk. Really, the braces, all these braces, this was a Texas car. All the braces are in phenomenal shape. The inner rockers, phenomenal. You know, just these floor pans and the trunk pans. What we need to do, I think I want to get all this off of here. The good old undercoating, you know. Seam seal, if not maybe even body work the seams. I ain't decided yet. Yeah, I don't plan much. But you know, see if we can get this dolled up. I'll explain the process in here as we go along. Let me get started. Yep, just to get you guys in here a little closer. There are a few holes that have been drilled in it. I'd like to weld up. You know, I mean, look, this is original. All these braces are original. You know, inner rockers. I mean, can't ask for much more than that. So I figured patching it at the time is, you know, but I've got some welding touch-ups to do from this side. This pinch welds to here. So I have to drill holes, probably this side, clamp it, get it welded, both sides. There's another one. This will be body color. What color that is, I'm not sure yet. Get all this touched up, welded up. I kind of doubt I'm going to body work it. I'll probably nicely seam seal it, and then seam seal it from the inside. I got a fresh can of Pour 15, so, you know, glossy black. Why not, right? So, and basically get rid of this. I just, on the Cadillac, when I redid it, I painted everything Pour 15 and whatever wouldn't stick to it, which the Pour 15 is actually still sticking to the undercoating. But, you know, the shock mounts were here. That one was blown out and this whole area was cracked and blown out. It had a piece of flat plate kind of bolted down to it. So I just replaced it. I'm going to run a bar between the frame rails for the shocks. And of course I did both the same way, okay? The inside of the fender well, I believe you can see that. Yeah, that's a patch. That's a patch where the trunk brace welds to, it would rot it out. So I cut I'll stick the video up here somewhere if you want to go back and watch it and you hadn't seen it. So same thing on both sides. You know, inside the trunk's all cleaned up, patched pieces and all that. I'll have to figure out, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use a spare tire, at least in this fashion. So I'll have to, you know, do that. Trim up, I had the drop downs for the trunk were all rotted out, probably from here down around the edges. So I had to make these, and they're proud. They stick out too far, so I need to trim them off, trim some other stuff off, and get it ready for Pour 15. Now I don't know how much that's going to happen in this video, but let's get at it and quit playing around. We get with that undercoating first. And you might know a trick that I'm going to show you. Whiskey bottles, brand new cars, oak tree, you're in my way. Them Leonard Skinner fellas, I think they're going to go far. That stuff heated up a little bit, you know. If I don't heat it up, okay, well, it comes off okay, but stubborn places. Hey, this might take a while. I'll turn you back on in a few. Use the heat if you need to. If you don't, well, it wasn't me that showed you that. Let's go ahead and try this again. Kind of show you how it's supposed to work. That stuff is so dried out and thin that it just comes right off, but this will not. I mean, it'll come off, but dang, it's hard. Right here, these little areas here is pretty thick. Like that. That's how it's supposed to work. There we go. All right, let me get back at it. But you get my point, right? Officially wore out. But you can see got it all cleaned up for the first pass. Just a scrapey. I've got to wire brush all this yet, get it as clean as I can get it. I'm not going to do inside the wheel wells because I'm going to be replacing the quarter panel. We'll put full quarters on this car. It's just, I've got to have a lot of work into it, build a nice motor for it, you know, and all the splicey. See the splices? Yeah, that means a whole lot of body work, and what I mean is Bondo. And I think it's just going to look straighter, look nicer, put full quarters on it. But to catch you guys up, this is my 1957 4-door to 2-door conversion. I've got it on the side here so I could finish the floors and make some room for the MGA project. Well, so what I did was bought the car as a 4-door. I bought another car body for $200 that was a 2-door. A 210, just like this is a 210 but a 4-door. So I just sectioned in right around all the way through here, this whole part on both sides, so that I have the holes, I have the mechanisms and all that, so the back windows will roll up and down when we're done. It'll be just like a 2-door. And I did buy this whole 4-door car body as a roller, no engine, no transmission, and no title, for $1,500. Bought a pair of beat up old 55 doors, which kind of work, for $100, and bought the other car for $200. So I have, let's see, $1,800. I've got, I think it was $220 for the floor pan. I've probably got $600 in here, And I spent $157 and got a title for it. And the title says coupe. It says Chevrolet Coupe, because the officer had to come and verify the speedometer and the numbers and all that before they give me a title. And he just kind of looked at it and wrote coupe, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, which I'm never going to lie about what this car is, but I do want it to look like it was a two-door its whole life. So that's to catch you guys up, and I'll put the right here the playlist for this car so you can get caught up if you're interested. All right, so now I'm gonna start wire brushing, cleaning best I can, grind all my weld seams down, and then I'll have that light on the inside. I can look and find my majorest holes and get them welded up a little bit better. I've got to weld up these flanges on both sides, and you know, holes like this I'm not worried about. Seam sealer, I'm not going to worry about this. This car is going to have a manual transmission in it, so I'm going to cut that out anyway when the time comes. But a bunch of the little holes, you know, seam sealer, heck with it. There was factory holes like this and like that. What they're for, I don't know. Seam sealer, you know, some seat belt. We had a couple sets of seat belts or exhaust hangers drilled in the floor. I'll seam seal it. If I need that hole, it's already there. Just dig out the seam sealer. Okay, I'll check back with you here in a few. We gotta have this thing painted tonight.
YouTube.
What's that?
I said hi, YouTube.
What are you doing here, Steve? What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. Well, I was cleaning my brake line, visiting Mike.
Oh, okay.
That's about it.
Oh, okay.
Get me off the camera.
All right. We got about it cleaned up. Well, I might clean up a little bit. Got some paint everywhere that I want to seam seal, so that there's a little paint under the seam sealer. Some guys just put it on the bare metal, and it's probably fine. It's just how I'm going to do it. Bolts in all my holes I want to save and not get pour 15 in them. You know. So speaking of which, in my little town, there's only 2 of these. I bought all 2. Anderson didn't have any. Pendleton had 2. So I'm going to try something different.
But where'd you buy it at in Pendleton?
O'Reilly's.
Oh, okay.
No, actually O'Reilly said they had it. But they didn't. AutoZone had 2, and that was it. So anyway, I'm going to doctor this up a little bit. So I was at the Menards up the road, and I thought, well, this stuff was on clearance. It's old, it's gooey, it's paintable, it's a polyester based type of stuff, but it's too thin. It would work, I guess, if you wanted to, you know. So let me see, since I don't have enough to do the whole car, let me figure something out here. So it turns out I have a plethora of a certain item that I'm going to use to thicken that up. Let's see if it works. If it don't work, you guys will know. Let's start with that much. That's Bondo dust. Well, there's a little piece of something. Okay. There's something else in there.
Is it a cigarette butt?
Hey, there's a cigarette butt. We don't need that. Now, if it even mixes.
Jeez, that's turned into like a... Man. Is it going to mix? It doesn't seem like it wants to...
No, of course it doesn't want to mix, but
It's really going to thicken it up.
if it works, it's really going to thicken it up. Homemade brushable seam sealer. Get rid of some of the
There you go. It's kind of mixing now. Look at that.
says it sticks to paint, metal, wood, masonry. It's still thinner than regular seam sealer. No big chunks.
Look at that. No cigarette. Ooh, hair.
Something. Sort of like mixing dough. Just a little brush. You can tell right here where I tried it and it just seemed too thin. See if I can get it on there.
Looks like it's doing the trick. Looks pretty good. Adding that dust to it, really thickening it up, kind of helps it, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Like, you know, I'm going to be seam sealing the inside or the opposite side of these same joints. So it's not like it's a huge deal. But I think it'll look nicer. See, it just wants to sag. Which, pretty sure that if you buy the real stuff, it's going to do the same thing. Now the bigger holes that I need to do, I'm going to use the regular seam sealer just because this would not work for that. And it's under the car, so it's not like leveling off pretty good. See it? Well, like holes like this, I'll use the regular stuff. The question is, upside down. Will it stick? So anything gets bypassed, it's not going to matter. It's going to get seam sealed from the top. Maybe with the same thing. I just think it's going to look nicer than, besides the fact that I couldn't buy enough. All right, I'm gonna go for it. Get the whole thing. I'll show you when we're done. Well, you guys tell me what you think. I mean, it's, you know, it look like brush on seam sealer. It's basically what it is, I think. There's my couple little holes. Oh, and I just, anyway, I guess I'm fixing that. I just gotta put my finger and stuff. So it's, you know, just kind of watch it where it starts sagging. I just kind of, in time we put the pour 15 on here, it's just gonna look fine. All my shock pocket repairs are all done. Everything's sealed up really good. Well, we get set up for pour 15. I'll turn you back on. All right, little pour 15 tutorial. Let me turn it around here so you can see it. All right. Now, this stuff is very expensive. Used to be able to buy a gallon 6-7 years ago for $100. Not no more. Now it's 200. So I took a chance, found it for $145 on eBay, which means it's something somebody had, or they gotten a lot of stuff that they bought, and you know, so this can's been sitting around for a long time, and this has happened to me before, and you probably can't quite see it, but I tried to get that lid off. That lid will not come off. Because what happens, whatever moisture's inside that can makes that stuff cure, and it actually glues that lid on there. I'll destroy the can trying to get it off. That tells you how mean this stuff is. Mean, mean, mean. Now, I poked a hole in the top, and I've also done this before. It's a little pour spout, okay? So I shook the can up, cut me a little screwdriver and a hammer, tappy tappy, cut me a little hole. When I get done, I'll put a piece of masking tape on that. It seals it off, it's just fine. I can go and rip that out, or I make a new hole if I need to, and do my best to use this whole gallon. So you know, if you're gonna do a floorboard or something like this and use a brush, you buy the little cans, you're more than likely able to use that whole can. So the little pint at the parts store that didn't have seam sealer had pour 15 in the little cans. $64. $64. I wouldn't pay that. I would have paid $150 and take my chances and get a lot more for my money. I would. You guys maybe don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do, put it in my HVLP gunny right here, right? And I'm going to reduce it. This is a urethane based paint. Just like I'm going to paint that MG right there with urethane based, that car is going to be a urethane based paint. You know, so it's all compatible. So you would normally use a urethane reducer. I'm not, and here's why. Here's my thoughts. 7 years ago, I painted pour 15, sprayed it on the bottom of my old Cadillac in the other garage. I didn't remove all of the undercoating. I wire brushed it by hand and with a drill and all that, best I could, one side at a time, and sprayed it with pour 15. But not knowing any better, I used lacquer thinner. Now anything petroleum based underneath this will not stick. It'll fall off. Unless you use lacquer thinner. Now here's my theory. I could be wrong. There's a bunch of guys that's going to comment, tell me I'm crazy, stupid, don't know what I'm doing. I've already mixed Bondo dust and Gorilla seam sealer. Well, I'll show you that before, you know. Now I got seam sealer. Lacquer thinner is a very aggressive material. It takes off paint, it takes off your skin. It's very aggressive. The bottom of that car, right over there, has primer still on it. That is lacquer primer. The grease and the oils and stuff like that, it's a you know, you need something aggressive to bite into it. And I think to this day, you look underneath my Cadillac up in the other garage, I'll have to show you the bottom of it. Even where I painted the undercoating, that stuff is harder than hammered heck. It hasn't come off. I'm like, well, it's gonna fly off, whatever, don't care. It hasn't. So, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I did to this MGA's frame and underneath this MGA. The frame where it was greasy and dirty, cleaned it best I could. And pour 15 still on there, right? I've used it straight without lacquer thinner, and you get a little bit of film or something on it, it comes off. Lacquer thinner keeps that from happening. So let me get set up, put some in the can. I'm just gonna reduce this, you know, 10%, something like that, just a little bit-ish. No big deal. There's no hardener with this, so I can put it in the jar and it can sit there for a while before it starts hardening up and get this car painted. Well, the bottom of it. Alrighty. Paint's in the pot. Respirator. The patented Junks Automotive lab coat. The reason I'm telling you that, also I have brand new goggles. When you spray this stuff, if you're not spraying it, you get it on your hands, you're not going to be able to take the wife out for dinner because you're going to have this black stuff on your hands for 2 weeks. It will not come off. Eyeglasses, it ain't coming off. I'm telling you. Eyeballs, hair, more than likely when we're done, I'm gonna have to shave. I'll have that black thing from me trying to breathe and it'll suck through here instead of going, it's just gonna happen. Do not breathe this stuff. Hurt you, right? Paint it with a brush. I'm doing it because of time. I can do this and have it done in a couple minutes. You know, it's for you guys. The dangerous stuff I do for you guys. So I'll have all this on and get to painting. I'm gonna put you in a plastic bag so you can check it out while I do it, because I'm so clumsy and, you know, I don't know how to paint. But you're going to be in a plastic bag, so if it looks a little blurry, it's because I don't want that stuff's going to stick to my camera, and I don't have the money to replace it, right? All right, let's go. We're down to the slope, yeah. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're down to the slope, yeah. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp.
it down too slow. We're gonna jump around in snow.
There you go. It'll be just as shiny as this, always. It won't hold dirt like a flat or a semi-gloss will. Once the car is put together, it's going to look pretty nice. Now, is it show quality? Heck no. It's got some, there's some fisheye going on. That's because all the undercoating and all the grease and all the oil, you know, but it's not going to fall off because I used lacquer thinner. You know, what I'm really happy with is our brush-on seam sealer. You know, now you can look and say, yeah, something's been done right there, but it's not all globby. It's not, you know, got a great big bead or something on it. Got it all, you know. And speaking of which, this portion of the car will take a whole lot more cleaning, a whole lot more attention, disassembly, because it's going to be body color. Now I've got 3 colors to choose from, and you guys can comment what you think. So a 2-door hot rod 1957 Chevrolet 210, the original color was right there. It's a desert rose, if I remember correctly. Or I was thinking, which would be with a white top and the white inserts where the trim is, or the good old-fashioned 50s aqua color, or plain old red, something like a Viper red. You guys tell me your opinion. Tell me your opinion on all this stuff. Is junk crazy? Yeah, I am. And I did, by the way, put bolts in all my holes. That poor 15, it gets it soaked in there, you about can't run a tap through it. One thing is for sure, this stuff is not coming off. It's going to take a gouge with a screwdriver. Well, you know, good enough for who it's for. Turns out it's for me. So, you guys on your projects, do what's good for you. You know, I could have had it sandblasted. If it was a show car, we'd have put full floors and trunk in it and had no qualms about it. Well, I don't really want a show car. Okay, maybe someday, but you know, what's the fun of it? A whole lot of time and a whole lot of money, you can't drive it anywhere. This one I can drive it. I can drive it down to the pub, play with the Puck and Holler boys. You know, if it happens to rain, drive it. That's what it's for. You know, it's pretty nice. So we learned a few things. We can make our own homemade brush-on seam sealer in a pinch. You know, I think it's a good idea. I'm probably going to use the same process on the other side. So here's the plan. Move this MGA outside. Notice I did have plastic on it, you know. Move it outside. In the next video, we're going to flip this back straight up and down. It's precarious. It's quite the process. Put it on that table so it rolls around. Do the inside of the floor. Put it outside, cover it with a tarp. I might put it in the backyard or something like that. Then I'll have plenty of room after I clean up to take Ralph's car, Ralph's MGA, blow it all the way apart, take all the body panels off, get everything cleaned up and prepped, get it all edged in, painted inside the engine compartment, under the hood, inside the doors, in the trunk, all the edges painted. Then we can put it back together with, you know, our basic final adjustments-ish. And while we block it tediously, block it with a tongue depressor or something, I'll have it over on the other side where the car is, the 57 is sitting. Then I'll have the chassis for the 57 in here, totally disassemble it, get the frame sandblasted. Yeah, I said it, sandblast. Get it painted, and then all new suspension. We'll work on getting this 327 over here put together. Transmission, differential, everything. So it's a rolling chassis, engine, just like a model, you know. Then we'll put this back on top of that, right? Start doing body work on that. In the midst of that, we'll have this MGA painted. So just give us a couple weeks. We're gonna be back on the MGA. I know some of you guys are into that sort of thing. But hey, I'm sure glad you all are here. Thanks for coming back to hang out. Junk out. Junk's Automotive.